I was here about 10 days ago and I put in this honey super and they are already, oh my gosh, look how much they've built in 10 days. Like they've done at least 1, 2, 3 full frames and 2 halves maybe. Let's see if that's full of honey. We actually had a bit of a tricky situation. So instead of building on the frames, what they've done, because the frames are a little bit far apart, is actually build a whole structure in between the frames. So I don't know where that's anchored yet, but that is a huge chunk and I don't know how to move it. It is going to be a bit of a problem. And I think they've done the same with this one here. I think it's suspended between the frames. So the place that I bought the bee boxes said that they always use 9 frames per box. But the problem with 9 frames is that this box fits 10. So with 9 frames, they're slightly farther apart, and so they have room to do things like this. Do you see how that's just like in there in between the 2 frames? And if you actually look at the frame, the comb is undrawn. They've built this up. Ah, boy. Alright, so I'm learning all the time that just because someone does something and it works for them does not mean it's going to work for your bees. That's a lesson that's coming back to me again and again. So I think I'm going to have to actually put these closer together and put a 10th frame in this box. And hope that they, I don't know, I'm probably going to have to come back and do some dissection on a day where I have more time. It's going to be a project. I just finished my hive inspection and it didn't go all that great today. So I just wanted to do a little when good inspections go bad spiel. I mean, with any kind of animal husbandry, there are ups and downs, and things aren't always going to be going as planned. Things come up. So today started off kind of frustrating because I couldn't find my regular hive tool, and I ended up using another kind of hive tool, which I just don't really like as much. It's harder to use. And then it was really hot, and of course I'm in my bee jacket and my hood and veil and my jeans and my rubber boots, and I was boiling hot. I was like dripping sweat into the hive. I was so hot. So yeah, didn't start off great. And then I opened up the first hive and I just have observed that they're really not growing. It's always been the smaller of the 2 hives since I got it as a nuke, and it has definitely grown from that point, but it's really seemed to have stagnated, and I did think I saw some signs of chalk brood in the hive, which is a fungal infection that affects bees in the brood stage, so when they're in the larval stage, and it basically mummifies them, and then they die before they can grow up, so it prevents a hive from growing. Now in a bad infestation, you would see a lot of those mummified baby bees, and the bees would be clearing them out, so you might see like a pile of them by the front of the hive. And I didn't see that. I really only saw a little bit on one frame, both sides of one frame, where I could see some like chalky white something, and I don't know for sure it's chalk brood, but I can't think of anything else that it would be except for that. And so I'm gonna have to do some research on how to treat that. I think basically you just have to remove as much as possible of the affected comb and hope for the best. We'll see. But that was disappointing to see, and because I'm so inexperienced, I didn't know. I just felt a bit overwhelmed when I kind of made that discovery. The second hive is doing really well, but as you saw, the comb building is not exactly going to plan. So I did squeeze a 10th frame in there, and I wish I'd done that from the beginning and not listened to the people that I got it from who said they only use 9 frames in their 10 frame boxes, even though I was like, oh, that's weird, because then it would leave gaps in between where the bees could build, and that's exactly what they did. So I should have listened to my instincts and my research and done that from the beginning. So I squeezed that 10th frame in there. Hopefully it's going to encourage them to build on the frames themselves and not in between, but that's going to be quite a bit of work to figure out, which I didn't have time to do today because I have an appointment, so I had to rush home after jumping in the lake because it was so hot. So yeah, a few things today that that are gonna need some problem solving. It's part of being, part of working with animals is that the unexpected is gonna happen, and I am experienced at beekeeping, but this is gonna help me become more experienced at beekeeping. So if these situations arise again, I'm gonna know what to do. So I'll keep you apprised of what I do end up doing about the suspected chalk brood, and we'll see how the stronger hive reacts to, well, whatever I have to do in there to get things a little more organized. And we'll hope that the next inspection goes a little bit more smoothly. One thing I did want to talk about today was visiting an apiary. So Eric had never seen my bees, and we went to the property where my bees are kept for a party on Saturday, and he said, oh, let me go see your bees, just see where they are. And it was about 8:30 at night, and we went to the hives, and he got a bee on his face and he swatted it away, and it stung him on the hand. And all that happened within about 20 seconds of being in that area. So if you do have the chance to go to an apiary, I highly recommend it. It's an amazing experience, and there's so much to be learned from bees and the way they live. But I do have some suggestions, and as a beekeeper, I should have thought about this before. It was kind of a spur of the moment, oh yeah, we're here, let's go see the bees. So first of all, it was the wrong time of day to visit the apiary. It was 8:30 at night. All the bees are in the hive at that time. You really want to visit in the daytime hours on a nice day when the bees are, a lot of them are going to be out foraging, and they're not going to be distressed by your being there, because they're going to be doing their bee work. The other thing was that Eric was situated right in front of the hives. When I work with the hives, I'm always behind the hives so that I'm not in the line of travel for the bees as they come and go. And all the guard bees are at the front of the hive, usually on the landing. They're, keeping an eye on things. So Eric was in the worst place at the worst time, and he had no equipment. I would recommend, if you're visiting an apiary, to at least have a veil, or a hat with a veil, just to keep them off your face, because I think if that bee had landed on like his shoulder or something, because bees are curious, they're gonna check you out, but if it had landed anywhere else, I don't think he would have gone to swat it away, but it was on his face, and he didn't want it there. He was worried that he was gonna get stung, so he was nervous at the wrong time, in the wrong place, with no equipment. And I didn't tell him, if a bee lands on you, don't worry about it, let it do its thing, because the bee's gonna land on you and then just fly away. Don't swat it. So I didn't give him any instructions either. So that's on me as the beekeeper. But it was a really good lesson for me, because I do want to be able to show people my bees. Even if I don't have any equipment for them, to situate them in the correct spot, give them a little spiel before we get started, that the bees might land on them, and to just stay relaxed, and let them, scope you out and go about their business, and just to be there at the correct time, because yeah, it was a stupid situation, and I felt terrible, especially because my bees are so gentle, and I've never had an issue with that before. I barely even use my smoker because they're so relaxed. Although that said, the hive today that I found that might have chalk brood was a little bit on edge, and I did get about 4 stings. I was all in my gear, so I didn't get hurt, but they were, a little bit defensive today. So got some work to do and some research to do, and I'll let you know how things go. Bye.